This is the Sex Ed for You podcast, where research meets reality.
And we're your hosts, Lauren and Holland.
This is the podcast for people who want to date and have great sex that is safe, fun, and enjoyable.
We aim to empower our listeners to make informed decisions that lead to values-based living. I'm Holland, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Public Health, and I'm the Director of Operations here at Sex Ed for You.
And I'm Lauren, a certified holistic sexuality educator and the proud owner of Sex Ed for You.
Lauren works with individuals, partners, and parents to restore positive and respectful approaches to sexuality, pleasure, and relationships.
To work one-on-one with me, go to sexedforyou.com/free consult to request a free 15-minute consult today, or consider joining our monthly membership program, Hemlock.
Through monthly journaling prompts, an exclusive podcast, and virtual gatherings, the Hemlock Monthly Membership Program provides an accessible way to learn about sexuality and self.
It is a continual source of nutrients to help you nurture and re-access your sexuality and flourish personally for just $10 a month. To learn more, go to sexedforyou.com/hemlock today.
Y'all, welcome to another episode of Sex Ed for You with Lauren and Holland, where research meets reality. Clink. That's all we get.
No.
We actually have to clink.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a sexy clink.
It was.
Jeez, this is very phallic, and it's very... It's staring at me.
It's been a day. It's been a day. It's been a week. It's been everything. You know what's interesting? We talk about this with clients all the time. The more aware you become of living in this body, that we have a workplace where we can acknowledge where we are in our menstrual cycles. We attune to these things. We align to these things. It informs what we do. Do we still build a beautifully consistent, successful business? Yes. It doesn't get in the way of things, but it does inform. It does allow us to be. It's just so funny how in tune, right? Like it's almost like a catch-22 of like, well, here we are.
And we're running with it. All right. It's like, it's funny because I do think people have a misconception about what we mean by saying we are like very accepting of our cycles. Mm-hmm. Wherein what it really means is that we're just like very hilariously in tune to the nuances of it. We're not taking days off, like all of the days off. We're not just like not moving for a week. It's more so that like I'm on day one of menstruating and I am aggressively energetic in every way.
And we'll do things like this morning we had a meeting with like a possible like service provider of a service. Not a sexual service.
As a bookkeeper. Why are you making it so weird? It's just an accountant.
I didn't get much sleep last night, y'all. There's something with the moon. I mean, okay, so this is just an example. Before we even go to a meeting like this now, both of us were like, I'm sending her a voicemail this morning that's like, hey, just an FYI, I was awake for a couple hours in the night. This is how I'm showing up today when we meet with like, we're already bracing each other. Then the moment I see her, she's like, hey, FYI, day one of menstruation. I'm like, hey, great. How can I support you? She's like this. We're like, it's just wild. It doesn't change how we show up. We still met with the intern. We still met with the bookkeeper, the service provider.
We still met with our gigolo of the month.
We still do the things. We just show up in a way that's authentic.
Yeah. Apparently today's a lot of laughter.
Listen, it's supposed to be day 2, but we will make it to day 1.
Technically, I did start bleeding yesterday.
Did you?
I like drizzled.
I'm serious. Serious. So we'll say moving into day 2, it's if I can take myself less seriously, it's more fun.
Oh,
this is more
so much
fun.
Clearly. You've seen the first few minutes of this podcast.
Yeah, we don't just lay around to do nothing. We just give ourselves permission to show up how we are.
And like how we should. Like what we just embrace the power of whatever phase of the cycle we're in.
Yeah.
Like,
and so Holland's given off this like direct energy today And I'm just here for it. It's not for me, her coworker, to like overanalyze what I have done to elicit such direct responses.
Which
from
is
me.
the beauty of saying, hey, this is the part of cycle I'm in. And then that informs you to be like, oh, it's not about me. It's about the fact that this girl's bleeding. Like,
okay, right? Like, and it's not that it discredits her word. No, it which we teach in our mindful menstruation course, but it might be amplified. It might be more direct. You know, there might not be as
if anything,
much
I'm
like
saying the things louder than I would be afraid like to say without. But it's still the same thoughts. It's still the same brain.
It is not it's not permission or an excuse to treat others with lack of kindness. No. Nope. Not that. It's just an explanation. Hey, it's not you. It's not that I'm so frustrated with you. I'm just going to like deliver information another way. It's not that. No. She's just less filtered and it's wonderful. I'm loving it. I'm just enjoying it. And I think it gives others permission to just do that. Kind of like bask in it because it's fun. It's different.
It's funny to me how every single month I'm like shocked by it.
Yeah.
Like I come into this part of my phase and I'll be talking to people and I hear myself and I'm like, damn, Holland, like, who are you? I'm like, oh, you're me during this phase. Like that's exactly. But every single time, without a doubt, I'm like, who is this woman that's coming out of me?
It's so fun.
It's very entertaining.
It's so beautiful. Like we get to be all those pieces of us.
Yeah. And if you want to learn more about this, go buy our mindful menstruation class.
Should be online very shortly.
Yeah, at some point. Whenever that comes out, I'll update the link in the thingamajiggy. But as of now, just get excited for the future mindful menstruation class that will be available somewhere for you. Yay.
Yeah, on part 1 of this episode, did we decide to double them up?
I have no clue.
Okay. On a previous portion of recorded content,
Holland's probably wearing the same shirt.
we talked about how at our retreat in August, we really were brainstorming ways to grow the business. And one of them was to make content that could be available 24 hours a day. And one of the things we wrote down at that point was my mindful menstruation course. And so it is now been filmed and recorded. And next step is the editing process, which will happen, and then it'll be out for you. But exciting times. We took our step towards it. We really did.
Steps. I've just got to glue the steps together now.
Yeah, or hire somebody who does. But yeah. Other things. Let's talk the sexy things.
So
you said you have.
I do. I'm trying to think of where to start it. This is going to be an adventure with the energy that I have. My brain just went to 77 different places. Yeah. So what we're going to do.
Buckling up.
We're going to start with the fact that I was watching Love is Blind.
Great.
If you watch Love is Blind, I'm sorry that you're in the same hole I am. It's an interesting show. This most recent season, everybody was toxic. Everybody needs therapy and all of them have problems, but don't we all? But I was watching it, and as I was rewatching season 1 because season 6 came out, and I was like, this is terrible. What happened to the good balance of drama and hopeful couples that might actually work? And so I watched season 1, or restarted watching season 1, because I was like, oh, they had a good balance. So I start watching it, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, I remember that these men were, like, odd. But sometimes I'm sitting in my body watching TV or like watching life, just watching men be men. And I'm like, ugh. Like it just icks me out. Like the other day I went to a basketball game and men were menning and I was like they just, and it's nothing to do with them being bad people at all. It's literally just like sometimes men do things and I'm like, ew. Like literally my bodily response is, oh. And so then I was sitting on my couch with a little bit of weed. I was like, am I a lesbian? But then today, see, this is the adventure. So then today we go to a coffee shop. And we're sitting there doing a meeting with our service provider of services. And I'm like in my direct energy, like asking questions. It's like the end of this meeting.
You were.
And I am like asking questions and stuff. And then I see Lauren smile out the window. And I was like, who's at the window? In comes this human. I don't know how to say this on a podcast. Because they might listen. So anyway,
A human came in.
a human came in, and it's a human that I am like wildly attracted to. Just like my brain stops functioning, and this human is male presenting, and so like I go from being like, am I a lesbian, to like feral for this human. And essentially now I'm in this boat of like, I just think it's so funny that we as humans, me specifically today,
You are the human.
I am the Kinsey theory proven of like sexuality is so fluid. It's so crazy. But I'm still kind of in the boat of like, am I a lesbian that just likes the occasional man? And have I been so like conditioned into heteronormativity? Because you've also even said, because then like your voice popped up in the back of my head. Sorry. Your voice was like saying that you always enjoy seeing me flirt with women because it seems so natural and exciting. And then I just ruthlessly hate men.
Okay. And let's clarify. I do think one of the benefits of a culture that is obsessed with heteronormativity is that we don't have as many scripts for same gender flirting.
That's fair.
And so when women flirt with women or men flirt with men, I mean, and people are going to argue with me on this, as they should, right? They'll be like, yes, there are. And those are just as messed up because people all take on roles. And hear me out. I feel that people who've been raised in worlds like we were, where heteronormativity was the norm, there's just a little more freedom when it comes to flirting. I think this is maybe what would be more accurate to come out of my mouth. It seems more like you. I get the pleasure and the honor of watching you get giddy about work tasks that you love too. I know Holland that is delighting in something. I've seen you get giddy about food that you make.
True.
I've seen you get giddy about an Instagram carousel, okay, or like content that you produce.
That's true.
So I have the benefit of getting to see you in pleasure often. It's the coolest job alive, people. Work with people who are in their skill set. So when I see you flirt with women, it blesses my heart. That sounded like a real Christian from the South. It blesses my heart to watch you be in pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. More authentically. I'm not even going to say more or less.
Yeah.
Authentically.
Yeah.
I've watched you flirt with people in male bodies. Can I give an observation on
go
air?
for it. 100%.
Okay. I will sometimes see you almost put on a masculine. Did you know I was going to say this?
I just know myself.
Okay. And I observe and I'm like, I wonder if it's protection. I wonder if it's right? Like men can be assholes in our culture. And is it, I just wonder, I get to watch it and it's not as playful. And I, again, get to have the honor of watching you be, we do a lot of going here. We do a lot of harnessing our masculine energy in this building, this company. So I get to watch you produce. I get to watch you create, achieve, and be giddy and delightful. And so to me, when I get to see the giddy and delightful come out, it's delicious because, okay, also when I see you flirt with men sometimes, I see you become not as much of yourself. And with women, I don't see you do that. And with this other particular person you presented today, I don't see you do that either, though. So this is where it's fascinating, which leads me to one
he's a safe person.
Yes, to what I've literally spent all week talking with clients about, which is it the gender or is it the human who is safe to be around? And what if that was, to our nervous system, what if that was more of an indicator of who we opened up our flirtatious side to? And then this is what you and I were saying in the kitchen moments before. Like, it would heal the fucking world.
It would. It so would.
If we all were like, oh, I don't flirt on with a person based upon looks or what their genitals are. Instead, I flirt with them because my nervous system feels safe around them.
Yeah.
I feel,
I feel safe to be playful. I feel safe to share with you my power. I don't know what it is. It's like watching an experiment in the wild. I love it because you are you, and you get to be. Yeah, the Kinsey scale in action.
I am the Kinsey scale. Yeah, fully. Yeah, I think it's more so truly it is like I'm attracted to energy, like to people and the way that they present. And I was thinking on this the other day just because it's been coming up. It's recurring in my life lately. But what?
Yeah, I think I just have a thought. I'll share it after you're done.
Okay. Well, my thought was, I've kind of lost it because I was watching your face.
Okay, well, I'll go. You'll remember. Not only do I watch you flirt with women, I watch you flirt with women, make me cry, who've done the work. You flirt with interesting women. You flirt with women who give off the vibes of, yeah, I've done some understanding of who I am as a sexual person, even in so much as a tattooed person.
Yeah.
I have some story. I am, yeah. And even this male-bodied person gives off so many of those same vibes of, I've done some work. I could listen to you. I could share with you about this work that I'm doing. I think of the rock climbing gym. I think we told the story here. Yeah, that person was fascinating, endlessly fascinating. And I could tell that's what you were picking up on as much as you were flirting. It was like, hey, know me. Is what I felt like you were saying, to this energy that was safe, that was truly giving off safe energy. That person was open. They were interesting. When I see you notice other women, it's the kind of same thing. Dancing, when we went dancing, same type of thing. You are a great judge of character.
Yeah, no, you're so right. This is so interesting.
This is fascinating.
I truly am just attracted to people who are, because for me it comes from both a defensive and an offensive standpoint. We're going sportsy here, but I was a b-ball girl, basketball, if you didn't know. So I very much am on the defensive, like 90% of the time, just with like approach to life. And so when it comes,
I thought you were gonna say because I'm tall and I do a good screen.
I'm tall. I'm great at rebounder right here. I was a post position 4, if you know anything.
Yeah. Literally thought we were going basketball here. Sorry.
Really good down in the paint. I've got strong thighs.
This podcast is off its rails.
It really is.
Y'all, if you're still here, we love you.
I love you so much. Okay, so yes, I am fully attracted to energy, but I think the reason I'm attracted to that energy is, to me, that says not only are you open to having hard conversations about yourself, it's that you're not going to dismiss the work that I've done and the background that I come from, because it can also swing in the other direction of like people who are, I don't know how to say this, like people who haven't had to do work because they grew up in a family that was so inclusive and happy and joyful. That's not a bad thing at all. It's just that sometimes that can mean that you're going to be judgmental of my past, of the fact that I was aggressively conservative and like have made a 180 in my life. Like, I really truly need to be around people who are willing to see all the angles, all the sides, all the things that I've worked through. But not only is it that, it's that, like, I don't know, those people are just so interesting. I need people with a story in my life. Yeah. I so admire and am so grateful that not everyone has a story that is difficult. And I think that is fantastic, but in a partner that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I've had to come to terms with myself, as like I've dated, and we've talked about the fact that I've dated a lot of people. What the common theme is I cannot I'm just truly not compatible with people who haven't had a lot of struggles in their life, because I need someone to like almost commiserate about life with, and like, not in a bad way of like constant complaining, but in a way of like understanding the many, many angles from which a person can grow and from which a person can come from. And so like, I don't really click with a lot of people who have had it really easy. And I'm so, like, don't hear me wrong. Like, I'm so grateful. It's just that I can't be in partnership with them. I'm friends with a ton of people that I have had that haven't had like things like I have, which is great. And I don't judge them for that at all. In fact, I'm so grateful. It's just not a partnership compatibility for me.
I read an article once that called those folks second mountain people, that this beautiful author, it was like some New York Times article. I don't think I could find it at all because I just read it one day and wept. He said, there's certain people that you meet hiking up the mountain the first time. They're fascinating, they're neat, they're great, they're wonderful. But until you have climbed up the mountain, fallen down the mountain, and are then climbing up the mountain again for the second time, do you understand when someone says something like Colin just said? The people hiking up the first time, they don't understand your unique struggles. You just fell down the whole fucking mountain, and you're hiking up again. And so then you meet those people who are hiking up their mountain for the second time, right? They're on their second way up, and they are just talking about all the things that they're doing with you and all of the things that they've had to overcome. And you're like cheering each other on. It's a different type of person. And it's okay. It's okay. This journal author was like, yeah, those are my people.
I think it also goes back to something we've talked about like many podcasts ago. You're going to have to, I think her name was Abigail or something. And it was the types of partnership where you connect on one. Yeah. And yours and Trey's is like a goal, right? I think like my connection, what I look for in partnership is that you've been through some shit and then you're ready to also go towards some shit. Like I'm just so philosophical and like I love to dig deep into like the meaning of life and like why you did that thing yesterday because it was out of character. And I'm like, ooh, let's dig into the psychological aspects of that. Like that's just who I am. Right. And I think that's just the type of partner that I'm looking for.
Who will do it with you or who wants that done to them for them?
Well, that's been the past, but thanks for bringing that up.
Who, me?
Who, me? Fixing things? I would never.
Because that's what I was going to bring up too, is that in our culture at large, we celebrate women who communicate and who are introspective. We do a shit job at celebrating that in people who are in male bodies. And that's a shame on us at large. I think that's another reason I see your soul drawn to these women sometimes is that by nature, they have been cultured to be better communicators. Not me, apparently. But yes, because I think there's that little bit of safety of hopefully you, right? Like hopefully you have at least gone to, women are so much better at talking about going to their therapy. It's more celebrated across the board. We're sharing therapists with one another. We did today. Yeah. All the time sharing different therapists and different things like that. Sadly, still in this culture, men are fighting every day to, dismantle that whole ridiculous patriarchal, antiquated belief that men don't need to communicate and be seen and be soft and share. Now, you and I grew up in a weird subset of culture, which was the Reformed Presbyterian religion, where I was around a lot of like deeply feeling philosophical men who thought and talked and debated and really cared. So it is weird. I tell Trey all the time that he is actually more like my father and the men I was around my whole life, just without like all the baggagey stuff. And so you and I have this, we did grow up again with some men who were thinkers and feelers.
Feeling men. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Maybe not in counseling maybe it was more like in pastoral counseling worlds. But so we know it's out there. Yeah. I do know that we know.
Like I know it exists.
Yeah. But that also is what I feel into your body sometimes is like, oh, she knows she wouldn't have to do as much labor there.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm here for people not doing 100% of the labor in their relationships. Yeah. That's just a service provision.
Tell that to 19-year-old Holland. She was loving that shit. That was my full-time job.
Because you're good at it.
I said, let me fix people.
Yeah.
I will do this forever.
But, you know, that we did get talking earlier on, you know, labels we will forever say on this podcast are helpful until they're not, and how we have all at once clients right now who have always believed they were bisexual and then are coming to that exact place that you were just sharing you were on watching Love is Blind last night, where they're like, no, men have always given me the ick.
They really do.
Always. And so I'm just going to claim that I'm a lesbian. Great. You get to. And clients of ours will always leave going, for now, or in so much as I know now. And I'm like, yes, right? Like, that's what Sex Ed for You hopes our clients leave with. And then on the flip side, we have had people who have always identified as gay or lesbian moving out of that tight box. We get to.
And to just like, yeah. And then it just brings me back to the like, why are we even trying to label it? Why can we not just all, I think naturally, we are all just attracted to people. Hopefully just people. But like,
right. Yeah.
We're just attracted to like souls and minds and connections and like, yeah. I mean, I follow quite a few like queer influencers because it's my demographic. So I follow this one queer couple who's like, one of them was completely straight. And she was like, I still would say I'm straight. I just am in love with this woman. Like, and that's happened. I think that happens a lot in menopause, where it's like all of a sudden I'm attracted to this woman, but I've been straight my whole life. And it's like, can we not just be attracted to people? I don't really need a label. I just am attracted to people. And that happens to more often be women. And then there's a man or two in there.
Well, and yay. Then we could break down romantic attraction and sexual attraction. Right? And we get to be nuanced. We just get to. And what if we didn't live in a world that made us put some label on what we're desirous of? My 13-year-old and I talk about this all the time, of what if it was just, who are you fascinated with right now? Who are you enjoying time with? Who is bringing you joy? Who are you enjoying bringing joy to? Who do you think is beautiful? Who do you think is fascinating? There are just so many other ways to say this that could really help us assess the health and the character and the other things that are far more important in relationship than what's between someone's legs. Yeah. Like, what if we were having conversations about mental load, emotional load inside of relationship? I think it's such fascinating conversation about, as opposed to kind of limiting ourselves to one thing. Yeah. Being like, what types of energies, what types of things tickle my fancy?
All sorts of things.
All sorts of things.
Just people in general.
Yeah. People who are good listeners, who are fascinating, who are doing the work. You're fascinated. If not, I watch you lose interest really fast.
It happens.
Or, which, as it should be, that should be dating.
Yeah.
It should be dating.
It should be fine. Like,
no, it really should. We're not promising to marry these people. No.
Oh my God. Can we talk about the marriage conversation we had the other day? Everybody's seen the movie with Jennifer Aniston, right? Where she's like, I don't remember what the movie is called, but she's in this 7-year-long relationship. He told her going into it that he doesn't believe in marriage. And she's like, okay, maybe you don't believe in marriage, but like for the past 5 years, I've been hoping that you would change your mind, la da 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 da. And that got my brain thinking, like, do I believe in marriage? Because marriage in and of itself is indeed a construct that we ourselves have created. Just like time and days and every other money. It's not real, people. We made it. Marriage, not real. We made it. So marriage to me, do I believe in it? And then I got to this point of like, the thing is, marriage is really just for the government to be able to know who you're connected to, what you're doing your shit with. And I get it. I don't believe in the government necessarily. So I don't really want to do anything that benefits them either. But the thing is, marriage benefits you as a tax person. And I don't believe in marriage, but I do believe in commitment. And if you're committed to someone for like 7 years and you for some reason are sitting and saying, but I don't believe in marriage. Like, bitch, I believe in a tax break. Like, we are living together. We have a child at this point in this imaginary scenario. But like, you've committed to me. Just sign the paper. We don't have to change our names. We don't have to do anything. Why are we not just like, it's not that you don't believe in marriage. You're just scared of something that is internal. If you're telling me you quote unquote don't believe in marriage, but you're fully committed to this person, no, something else is wrong. And it's not me, it's you.
Well, because if it's just pretend, then your just pretend marriage could be just pretend divorce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, sign a prenup. If you're freaking out about the divorce part, do a prenup.
I remember us having this conversation now. Yeah. And I had to go through all of this because I, was married under the pretense that it was going to be all sunshine and rainbows because that's what the church had promised me. And then it was miserable. And so then I finally, in the state of Virginia, it takes forever to get divorced, finally got divorced and was, really not sure if marriage was for me again. And then met a man who had never wanted to be married either. And I was like, great. And then we were just committed and it felt great. And then he was the one who brought it up, which I thought was hilarious because he had never wanted to get married, but he wanted there to be some type of, and this is to your point, sign of commitment to me, to my community. It was less about me. He was very concerned that my community, who had cared so well for me, knew that he was committing to care for me in the same way they had been. It's crazy to be with a person who doesn't know like the scriptural context because I'm like, I love that.
Trey
That's
feels
beautiful.
like a guinea pig to me.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, let's put you in a lab.
I just forget that people were even raised in situations where there wasn't like a Jesus lording over them at every room they entered. And so it's like, wow, you're like a science experiment.
And you could just make a moral decision because it aligns with your values.
What? And like, I'm there too now.
Right.
But
it's wild.
It took a minute.
So then, he wanted to get engaged. And I had to be like, whoa, hold on. And so I had to do a lot of work around that. And then we just spent forever being engaged because I was like, I don't know. I don't really like the idea of this, that, or the other thing. And it was fascinating because my trauma, to your point, a wise one, wasn't necessarily around marriage. It was around my ideas about what would or would not change, what should or should not change once a person was married, quote unquote. And that's when my precious now husband had to say, well, hold up. Nothing should change at all. If I am not the person that you were already in relationship with post-marriage, you should immediately annul the marriage.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Nothing should change. He didn't like vows.
Yeah.
He was like, what? Why would I commit to do something differently than I've
already been doing?
No, I should not be making any form of promise because if my character has not shown me to be a man worth marrying, do not marry me.
That part of purity culture always confused me. I was like, why? Because it was never necessarily about the fact that you're supposed to save sex for marriage for me. It was like all of these things suddenly changed. And that's what we're sold in purity culture. Like, oh, it might be hard now, but then there's also this like marriage is so hard. So hard. There's all these things you're going to have to work on, all this. But like, it's just like this complete and total lie of a construct that they've created for themselves.
It was so bad. I really thought that once I got married at 21,
it was all going to fix it.
It was all going to be better.
But at the same time, it's going to be worse because you're working through it together.
He would have made a commitment to me and so kind of would be I don't know.
Well, like God is going to bless it
Beholden.
now. God is like
Yeah.
on your side once you've
Yes.
been married. And like you become one because you're having sex with him and you're a virgin. And like there's this whole construct of like it's blessed by
Yeah.
Jesus, so it's perfect.
It would like all of a sudden look like another person's marriage. I still remember we did have some marriage counseling, and they were like, Lauren, why aren't you just creating your own marriage? Like they were so confused, but they hadn't grown up in the world they didn't know the world. Yes, they were people of faith, but they have a great marriage. Like they're fantastic and not the type of thing I was raised in. And I just, I
just never understood.
But I just so hear what you're saying about marriage, commitment, all of these types of things. I don't even know if I am commitment for the sake of commitment. I am consensual communication. And if it behooves the parties to get a tax break and we are choosing partnership right now, choose it and choose it boldly and align your values.
Yeah.
All the Tools of Liberated Partnership by Adrienne Marie Brown. And then go forth. Don't be afraid of something. Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, go to a march that, advocates for tax breaks for other people who are living together who can't get married, like
gay people couldn't until 2014.
So also check the privilege there. I think that maybe we should as a culture continue to expand and do. Maybe there should be tax breaks for roommates who want to live together and are not in romantic or sexual partnership together, but really enjoy their roommate sitch. Why shouldn't they get a tax break?
Yeah. Like,
it's really sad.
What's the prize for being a heterosexual in America?
Kind of gives me the skeeves, right? And I think as polyamory is entering into the world more fully, we're looking at polycules that are doing things well. Why should they not get tax breaks, right? Like there's
so much.
We can't undo it all. Yeah. We can't, but I do so agree with you we don't just get to skirt by and say we're afraid of fill in the blank.
And I think the reason
I don't believe in fill in the blank.
And I think the reason it bothers me so much is that it just shows that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's not that, like, because I don't believe in marriage either. I also don't believe in money, but guess what? I still deal with it. Like, it's just if you're saying things like, I don't believe in marriage and that excuses me from commitment forever, that just means that you haven't actually looked at what it is and what it does and, like, how it impacts your life. Like, yes, it's a construct that we've created. Yes, it's broken. Yes, it's part of the government. But, like...
It's, to me, so similar to folks who tell me that they are non-monogamous. And I'll say, are you non-monogamous or do you just cheat? Right? There are things that are inherently harmful to other human beings. And deceit is one of them. A lack of trust erodes partnerships and always will. It erodes relationships and always will. A lack of understanding of your own traumas surrounding believing that others should show up for you and you could show up for others will erode relationships because you haven't done your own work. Being afraid that you will break your commitment to someone because you're a cheater does not mean that just labeling yourself non-monogamous fixes it.
Dude, I wish you had seen this last season of Love is Blind for this exact conversation, because there is a man on there who literally, like, this, he has everybody has a lot of issues. We get that. It's AD and Clay, for those of you who know who I'm talking about. But Clay, the whole time, is telling AD, like, they get out of the pods where they've never seen each other. They meet. They're like, oh my God, you're amazing. And his, like, first thing that he says is, like, I'm afraid I'm going to cheat on you. And he just keeps saying that because his dad cheated on his mom a lot. And he's, like, bypassing the whole thing, hasn't gone to therapy, and is just, like, keeps saying over and over, I mean, like 6 or 7 times. And that's only on camera. Who knows how many times he said it when he was off camera. Like, I think I'm going to cheat on you. And I'm like,
I want to work with this man.
Yeah. I was just, all of them, I was just like holding on to my seat. Like, can I get Lauren in this room somehow? Please, anyone. Like, they just need someone with the knowledge that they need. Because so many times when I'm watching like reality TV, especially when it's pertaining to love, all I'm sitting there thinking is these people just don't have the information.
No.
They are like making all these decisions that are uninformed.
Yeah.
And so much, like I could give them a PowerPoint that would help. Yes, they should all go to therapy, but also just a PowerPoint with some facts on it would be great.
Which information, this is why what we do at Sex Ed for You, a shout out, is so transformative. That, you know, there's all these models of sexuality education and therapy, and one of them is the PLICIT model, and the P stands for permission. And sometimes all you do is give some people permission to be who they truly are, okay? Then the next one is limited information. Implicit, the PLI is limited information. So to your PowerPoint, sometimes folks don't need it all.
Yeah.
They just need limited amounts of information. And then it starts to go click, 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 click.
Yep.
And then that's all they needed. And it's fascinating. You're right. Just give people some actual facts and watch their minds be blown. Yes. Speaking of another reality show, I just recently finished Couple to Throuple, and also so many problems with that show. But the one part that I loved is they did have a colleague of ours, Dr. Shamira, and she gave limited information. And those are my favorite parts of every episode was the educational bit of it, where they all had fascinating conversations. It was beautiful. It really was. They didn't come out strong. I won't spoil it for everybody. At the very end of the show, there's like a montage of like 3 months down the road, and it gives you like an update on where everybody is. People should watch it just for that.
Just for that part. That's all you need to know. It's like the reunion for the Love is Blind people. We're like, it's been a year.
Yeah.
Tell us how it's going.
Yeah, it is fun for us all to watch those things, but I just so often wish they came with a PowerPoint.
Yes.
It doesn't.
Just some information. Just a counselor on site. Something.
Yeah. I don't want us to normalize
the way that on TV these relationships look. I'm like, when I watch them, I'm like, if any of these people were my friends, we would be having a lot of conversations.
Well, isn't this what so many therapists, counselors, healers, educators talk about, is that a regulated nervous system like borders on boring. It's not exciting to watch. It does not make good television. For those who don't know, I did an episode of a reality TV show called Moving for Love. Maybe today's the day I show you a clip. And it was so funny because they don't tell you what to do or say, but they would really like you to be more dramatic and ooh and ah over the things and have the fights and cry on camera. And I swear that some of the days were so long just so they could get more snippy moments of you and your partner.
Probably.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like 12-hour filming days every day. It was just insane. And I thought, we're not going to make very good television because we're just pretty chill people.
Because we moved for real love.
Real love, not for this. They wouldn't let us talk about the pandemic. They wouldn't. It was hilarious. So they just made up the story that Trey was just so depressed here in Virginia.
That he went back to California.
And the whole episode makes me look like this conniving, manipulative bitch who forces him to live in Virginia with my child. And he was so much happier in California.
So much happier. And then he moved here.
There was even like a whole Twitter thread.
Oh, that's amazing.
About me. Being this like evil woman who brought him back to Virginia. It's weird.
I've never seen the show.
And I'm like, you could see that.
Yeah, like that
like
perspective.
In the story.
If you don't know the fact that
there was a pandemic and he was just so depressed here.
Yeah, because he had survivor's guilt. Because he
couldn't make no friends.
Because it was the pandemic.
Because nobody wanted new friends.
Yeah, and like, oh my God, wow, that's crazy.
Anyway, it's just funny. So anyway, reality shows, crazy.
They show the worst side of love.
Yeah,
They truly do. I love to watch them because it makes me feel a little bit better about my love life.
Oh, they're so fun to watch. Are you kidding me? We got so sucked into Couple to Throuple. It was
I love to
joyous.
psychoanalyze
I
the
do
people.
too.
I'm like, oh, welcome into my uncertified office. I know everything. In comparison, it feels like it. Makes me feel like I know everything about love. And I'm like, wow, maybe this is what it's for. And I have seen some people talking about Love is Blind, though, in such an interesting lens of like watching it with your couple partner. And then you pause it and you're like, okay, so we need to talk about this, and we're going to talk about it better than they just did. Like whatever issues, because it does bring up issues 100%. That you're like, oh, this is something that maybe we struggle with. Let's talk about it in a way that is not as detrimental to our relationship as these people on this TV screen just did.
It's one of my favorite ways to view art. Art doesn't always need to show us what to do. Sometimes it can show us what not to do, and then we can have nuanced, yummy conversations about things. That's the biblical scriptures. That is so much art. Yeah. We get to do that. We get to say, oh, what can we learn from this? Wow, that didn't end well. What could we take from that? Yep. Yeah.
What titillates us? What can we glean from this? Can we glean anything about our titillations?
She was waiting for that, y'all.
I was. It was on the tip of my tongue. I think we can wrap this one up because I'm gonna like begin it with the 20-minute from last week.
This like became a long one.
Yeah, it did.
Let's quickie this.
That was
something
chaotic. Speaking of chaos,
it's like we should look at the planets.
Well, the new moon was this week.
That's true.
Other than that, don't know.
Don't know me either.
But I do know that Tuesday. I don't.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I feel like you're the one who got like wronged.
I did get wronged. So what had happened was we have some. I guess we could talk. I don't know if we can talk about the European one because it's not like we don't have a contract.
Oh.
We have a platform that's reached out to us to make content, which is really fun. That we make already, like that I've already written, that I've already made, and they asked us to make it into some virtual courses, which is really exciting because when we were on our retreat in August, we literally yelled at the universe. We want to make content, but marketing the content outside of our audience is what is tricky. So this invitation came in, great. We've been excited to do this. You put this on the calendar. We forgot to check to make sure that I wouldn't be menstruating during this time. We will never do that again. And then we show up to our space that we have rented, that we've paid for. We take all of the studio equipment, including all the things. Holland does the sound and the video every week. So this is pretty much like her expertise now. So I don't think twice about it, which, I don't know, you could have a side for either one. Like, should a boss have checked everything? Probably, but also
What would you have checked?
I don't know. I do know about the thing that happened because it had happened before with Trey and I too.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I would have checked. So anyway, we proceed to record for 3 hours, 2.5. We had the whole space rented for 3, but we extended.
Yeah, we did.
So I think I talked for 3 hours into a microphone and into a camera. Only for Holland to go home that afternoon to find out.
Well, essentially, I plugged, because I was so excited to get all of this done. I was pumped. So I went home, like plugged in the SD cards to my computer and downloaded everything, which took forever because there was so much to download. So I downloaded all of the videos and opened them up. I was like, oh my God, they look beautiful. This is so exciting. And like, yeah, just pumped. And then I go to download the audios. I download the audios, open the files, and I listen to the first one. And it's like just so aggressively loud. Like you can't even really hear what she's saying. It kind of sounds like if someone took a megaphone to your ear, like just there's noise, but it's just noise.
No words.
No words. And so I clicked, I was like, that must have been the test one. Truly. And so then I clicked through every literal audio that is on that SD card, and every single one of them was just shit. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, I am so confused. My jaw on the floor. Ollie, my dog, he's confused. He's also abrasively hurt from his ears being blasted because I just keep changing the volume on my speaker. Like, Shirley, it's just my computer. And so then I go back to something else. I like play Spotify. I'm like, please. And that played normal. And I said, damn it. Like, it's not my speaker. It's not my computer. It's the audio itself. So then I go into this like backpack that has all of our equipment in it. And I'm like pulling things out, like what is going on, checking the settings on everything. Turns out there's this one dial. And of course, because it's a motherfucking dial, it can just get nudged in the wrong direction. And so it got nudged to level 10 of sensitivity. Just to give you guys context, we typically record on a level 5 sensitivity. So... yeah, that was what happened. I felt like shit immediately. And I knew that we had our hemlock gathering that night. Yeah. So I was like, I can't tell Lauren, like you were so drained after that. Because it was day 3 of menstruating, which is not when you're supposed to be doing shit. And so you were exhausted.
Not new shit, right? Like when I teach mindful menstruation, ironically, one of the other classes that we're about to do, I am so good with like sitting with clients on day 3, having meetings with Holland on day 3, but producing content that's going to go out into the world that needs to be at like my top level. No.
That's ovulation.
Yeah.
Stuff.
That is ovulation energy or like, yeah, like, ooh, I'm in the prime.
Yeah.
No.
You were just tired.
I was so drained.
And like understandably so. I don't move day 1 through 3 of mine. So I
So you didn't tell me.
No, I didn't tell her. I let her take her nap and come to our hemlock gathering, which was beautiful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Shout out Hemlock.
We love
We
Hemlock.
have a free code. Go to sexedforyou.com/hemlock and use code BRANCH at checkout and get your first month free.
Yep.
Yep.
Slight plug.
A
Anyway.
slight plug. We
Moving
love
on.
Hemlock. I was so happy to see our people.
Yeah.
I even, Trey even said, like, how do you feel? And I said, oh, we've got our virtual new moon gathering tonight and book club. And he was like, you know what? That's a perfect place for you to go because those people you just have crafted such a safe container for everyone to just show up as themselves. And I said, yeah, it is pretty awesome. So I
love
was.
that Trey said that.
Yeah, it was really cute.
So
Yeah.
sweet.
Anyway,
He knows.
He knows. that
Everybody knows.
We've done a really good job of no one needs to show up for that, like presentational.
We can even like, if you want to just listen, sit
Yeah.
there with the camera off, whole thing.
Fully enough, only enough in that space. And it is always a gift every time. Anyway.
So we had that. And then at the end, I was like, hey, stay on the Zoom. Even though I'm across the street from you, stay on the Zoom. I have a few things to tell you. So I told her like a really good idea that I have for Hemlock and something else probably. And then I was like, and last but not least.
What did they say? Like 2 things and then the bad thing or
Yes.
something? It's like a research.
It was like, good thing, boom. So then I was like, hey, so I tried to, I don't even know how I told you. I was really nervous, but like also not really nervous because it's you. But I told you and said, but I also have solutions. And so I had gone on to Fiverr and looked at people who could do like audio editing and audio scrubbing and sent 6 different people all of the audio files and the camera files because the camera like video files, the audio wasn't that bad. So I was like, maybe we could use this, maybe this could be helped a little bit. So I was talking to all these people on Fiverr. I had reached out to a good friend of mine who's a videographer. Like I had done all of these things and I was like, look, like we are not just gonna say this day was like worthless. So I'm just gonna come with solutions. And I did. And then the next day, all the Fiverr artists told me it's not going to work.
It is literally unsalvageable.
It's literally unsalvageable. They said the best thing you can do is just use the camera audio that you have. And I was like, yeah,
it's just not our quality of production. It's just not. I'm sure it'd be fine. And it is good content, but no.
Yep.
And listen. We've all had it happen before and yeah, so I'm fine. I was so thankful for verbiage and to be this many years old where I could say I am sad. I am distraught. I am mad. I am all of these things. I am frustrated, but not at you. It's really neat to be able to delineate between, I wasn't mad at you. Like, it could have happened to anybody. And it has happened to all of us. We have all done something like that before. I told you the story of being at community college and having to take a computer class and doing an Excel spreadsheet and entering all this data off this like worksheet, and hadn't clicked saved, and then the computer shut off and I lost it all. And I raised my hand and I was like, told the professor, like, I had done all of this. You had just seen it because you were checking this. Like, do I really have to do it again? And he looked at me and was like, yep. And guess what? You'll be faster the next time. And it was the worst lesson, and I'm still salty about it. And yet he's so right. Every time I've ever repeated something again, it's always been faster and better. Usually better. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I had that first time.
Yeah.
And we still get to grieve. We still get to be like, oh my God. Yeah. It was bad. It was bad. Wednesday, Trey said, I'm concerned about you. And he's never been concerned about me ever before. He also had been a little shit, but
That's fair. There was the toilet video.
There was the toilet video. If you listen to the other podcast, or if you don't, you should go listen to that one. We just talked through that one.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yes, it was so good. And so good. Yeah. But anyway, Wednesday just gave myself space to work through it. It was funny. The universe was like moving all of the things off my calendar. So I knew it was like, psst, rest, heal. And then Thursday we went in and knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, we really crushed it on Thursday. We also extended our time.
Yep.
We did 2 classes and then got a lot of content for Instagram, for Hemlock, for a bunch of different things.
You'll see some of it soon. You're already working on things.
Yeah,
right?
I'm already working on it. I'm pretty sure a lot of it's going to be out by next week. So it might already be out by the time.
You just see it. It's just implemented. Yeah. And I'd love to praise you publicly for just a second. Y'all, what I was so like blown away by is we've all fucked up before, right? Done a thing unintentionally. And then it shakes our confidence so much that then the reapproach is full of some silly mistakes that we wouldn't have taken. I mean, it's why they say like getting back up on the horse is so important. But Holland showed up Thursday ready to fucking rock and delivered and was so grounded and had this whole energy about her that was super like meticulous and careful that it allowed me, been crying all day, to just truly be present in the content. And I'm just so thankful, really, really fucking thankful, because I really do want to teach and do all of these things, but that doesn't happen without the like support that you gave me. And you were on the other side of the camera and you were clearly watching these things. And I felt so held. We talk about containers all the time. The container was built, and it is hard to build a container after there has been a mistake.
Yeah.
And that shows the type of person you are all the time. I wasn't shocked because that's who I know you to be, but it was like, oh, wow, that takes skill.
Thank you. It also takes you creating a container in which I feel confident that I can do that. Because honestly, like, you told me that yesterday. And I was like, I mean, there wasn't really, not that there was another option. It just never really crossed my mind to go in without confidence. Because I was like, oh, it was just a mistake. I'll never do that again. And we're going to crush it because I know that you're incredible. And yeah, I don't know. It just never even really crossed my mind to be insecure about it because of so much of the growth that I've done lately. And so much of that has been facilitated by you and like working in an environment that is conducive to growth in not just like personal life, but or not just career life, but personal life too. So like it all bleeds together. And so, yeah, I've definitely learned throughout my whole life that making mistakes happens, but I know that within this container, within this job, mistakes are encouraged. Like, it's gonna, we always say FFT.
Yes.
And I just kind of have adopted that philosophy of like, it's an FFT. It's a first fucking time. Like, it happened. I'm very sorry about it. And I know that like it was a mistake and I'm not going to gloss over that at all. But I know that we can bounce back even better than we started, and there's space for that here. Yeah. So,
on Thursday morning, I also like got up super early just to get like super grounded in myself, and I put on some of my favorite podcast teachers. And of course, because when the universe wants to teach a lesson, the universe teaches a lesson. One of my favorite teachers was sharing how I think we're all learning now that genetics can change. We can affect our DNA through work with healers and yada, yada, but that the most effective way to create a new neural pathway, the most effective way to change the nervous system is through failure and a mistake and creating chaos in the brain. And we just saw it in real time of like, whoa, okay, don't want to do that again. And I don't want us to have a business where we are afraid to fail, because then we won't be brave enough to do anything. I want us to be brave. We are doing big, bold, brave things right now to step into the next level, and that is going to be accompanied by occasional failure. And it's not bad. What would have been harmful is if you had shown up and kind of said like, well, yeah, fucking first time. I almost like brushed it off, like my time spent had not been worthwhile. So I want everybody to know, like, there's a stopping point. You had done your due diligence. You came with possible solutions, and it would have been a different story if you were like, yeah, but FFT, right?
Yeah, like no regret, no
I
acknowledgement of harm. I think it goes back to the harm thing. Yeah, like it's good intentions, all the way through. But if I had just acted like it didn't harm you and acknowledged that, then I don't think it would have gone over the same.
No, so acknowledgement of the harm, the repair. Yeah. What if we, because I get to go to a client, what if we wrap this up on like kind of a learning thing that we learned and just call this like a short little mini episode, and then if we want to record another one, we could release a double header.
Lucky you guys, maybe.
Or we can just be like, this was a short one this week. Yeah. What do you think? I think I definitely have takeaways. Do you have any takeaways from kind of this whole little week of filming and doing these brave things, learning, failure?
I've really enjoyed digging into more of the audio video techie stuff. I really like that it opened my eyes to the potential of bringing in my really good friend to do content creation for us. Well, not content creation, but giving us the content. He's an incredible videographer. His name's Patrick Hardwig. He's based out of, I think, Utah. I don't know. I think they just moved, maybe Idaho. Anyway, he's incredible, and I would love for him to make content for us. But we'll see, maybe in the future, a possibility. And that's not something that I would have ever thought of.
Right.
And I wouldn't have reached out to him if this hadn't happened. And I think it really got us in the groove, or at least it got me in the groove and the mindset of like, we're doing things. Yeah. Like we're doing shit. We're not just going back to New York again. We're
doing that, but yeah.
We are. We're also creating content for global companies and expanding our scope of work, truly. And I think it just goes to show how big this can get.
Yeah. It felt like a leveling up, and it gave a legitimacy to, I think, the quality of content that we produce. And at one point you had me say our mission statement into the mic, like for some content. And it was really kind of this out of body experience to be saying our mission statement that we wrote in August while producing content that we wanted to produce in August, while also at the same time talking about our next like New York brainstorming trip, because we're moving all these pieces of logistics around. We're doing the thing that we set out to do. And I always want us to be transparent to our audience that it's not easy. No. It is not without stumbles. It is not without doubt, without, discomfort. We had the whole episode on the, dating policy, it's not just smooth sailing. Yeah. And I think one of my beautiful lessons from this whole thing was actually the stumbles are one of the biggest gifts in the whole process. Yes, maybe Patrick does get brought in, right? Or maybe we feel even more powerful in our in our confidence the next time we do something. It's all a part of it. And I don't want to be robbed of any of it. And it felt really good.
It did. I really liked it. I loved that. I felt like we really had some feet on the ground, because we also are so, or at least I am so alone a lot. I'm just doing work in my apartment with my dog. So to be like with you for hours and like doing things and then, you know, going on a drive or going back home to do the work on the things that we just did, it felt for me more feet on the ground. Like I was really in the work.
Like more real.
Yes. And whenever on Thursday, whenever you were recording, and I, because of the sound issue, had brought my giant headphones, they're soundproof, and like hooked them up directly to our little box that records. I was just like, yeah, this is how this was supposed to go. Like I was supposed to be sitting here next to you, like while you're recording, I'm listening to the audio, and I'm just like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Felt like partnered. I'm like, I know I'm not doing anything, but I'm sitting here really listening to the audio.
But you are, and I think that's so important. So many more takeaways, but I must go to do this work that we love so much. Yeah, shout out Hemlock. I'll wrap this up. Wow, so fast. Okay, Hemlock is our monthly membership program, and it's just really beautiful. And we just announced this brand new offering, which is, if you have never been a part of Hemlock, you can use code BRANCH at checkout to get your first month free. Try it out, get the journal prompts, come to our virtual gathering, get the podcast that comes out on the full moon, hang out in the group chat on Instagram, and get the close friend stories. It's a really beautiful community, and we would love to see it continue to grow and flourish. We'd love to see you there. Normally, it's just $10 a month, but you can get a first month free. We'd love to see you. Remember, these are our opinions. This is obviously our lived experiences. We hope you benefit from it. Where can they find us?
At sex_ed_4_you on Instagram. And you can email me at admin@sexedforyou.com. Anything else? I think that is it.
Go live your lives.
Live your lives. Bye.
Bye.